Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Niko Works and Otas. Today we are coming to you live from Buruburu. We are at the Nexton Limited premises where we want to talk matters environmental, occupational health and safety at the workplace. And we want to talk to the entrepreneur, the CEO, the MD, the owner herself, Madam Mary. Let's get the conversation going. So ladies and gentlemen, here we are with Mary Waweru. Welcome to Niko Works and Otas. I was almost saying welcome on Nexton, I remember. It's like the show is almost taking the name of the organization. But anyway, tell us something, Mary Waweru. Who is Mary Waweru?
Mary Waweru is the director in Nexton Limited. I am a fire safety auditor. And I'm also an air quality monitor, meaning that I have been licensed and approved by the Directorate of Occupational Safety and Health under the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection. Okay. Nexton Limited, as we have mentioned, is an industrial laboratory. We specialize in analysis and testing. We test the air quality monitoring. We are also looking into the issues of ambient air monitoring and noise survey that is in line with the environment. Wow. So we are looking into the issues environment because that's our objective. We're looking into the issues of occupational safety and health, meaning that those are the issues that affect a worker when he's at his workplace or she's at her workplace.
So that's basically like what you do in a nutshell.
Yes.
Maybe somebody's watching and they're wondering, how did we get to Nexton? How was it birthed from inception? How did it come about?
Nexton, from its inception, is very interesting because it's a story of hope.
We want to hear that story. We want to hear the story. Let me sit properly for that story.
It's a story that was born out of the desperation after seeing how much of global warming and climate change is in fact today, in our day. And we needed to know what exactly is affecting the environment this much by ascertaining exactly how much of the pollution and what is causing all this pollution. Because looking at it, most of the pollution comes after fuel combustion. We will come into that later. And what happens after the fuel combustion is that there is a release of greenhouse gas or what we call greenhouse gas emissions. Which basically means there's a lot of gases that are being released. And these are not just the normal gases that we breathe. They are gases that have potential to pick the sun's heat and absorbs it and creates like a blanket. So what happens is that once that is done, it creates a room for global warming because that now that heat is what causes the global warming that we have been hearing about.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we are doing technical stuff. This is just the beginning of the conversation. Global warming, climate, heat, gases, greenhouse. I just learned this thing I think in high school or something. Is it something that you have always had from childhood or something? Or did it come, I don't want to use the word afterthought, or did it come later in life, not as an afterthought per se, but did it come later in life, or it's something that you pursued all the way from campus to where you are?
Thank you for that question. Number one, by the time I was going to school, I had no idea that such things even existed. So we went to school. I went to school and studied, actually, I did accounting.
You're an accountant.
That's my basic course. And that's what we do. The accounts was known, at least the banking sector was known, but this was a line that was very little was known about. And until much later, which I learned about and I needed to pursue. So what happened was, and this is a story I would also want to encourage many people, that in case you studied something and you feel that possibly you could either expand or you could take a U-turn, there's a lot of hope in that. Because what I did was I began feeling a lot of potential to do something different, and I had to go back to school again.
So this is up to you. Already graduated and even worked?
Yes, I was actually working as an accountant.
Wow.
And later on, after now, I learned about this and I realized this is a serious, I actually was confirming what was already in me, but I did not know what to do. And we needed to be relevant. We needed to also create some footprint on what we are doing. And the idea of bringing in a laboratory that can now ascertain how much of the pollution is there is when it was birthed now. Because we needed to do something that can actually not only now begin saying we are dealing with the environment and we do not know how much of the pollution is there. We needed to get to a place where we can tell you if it is sulfur dioxide, how much of it is in the air. If it is nitrogen or the nitrate oxides, they are actually, you can ascertain how much of it is there. And a combination of all these gases that we are mentioning, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, hydrocarbons, sulfur dioxide and nitrogen of oxides, and all this is what is causing, is actually the gases that we had said that they're called greenhouse gas emissions in totality, because once they even combine, even in its singleness, if it is one gas, it is actually having an ability to still pull in the sun's heat and not release it, so causing the global warming. So how much of the damage that can be caused to the environment if then all these gases combined together?
I was going through my research before I came on set, and I realized we don't have such quote-unquote companies in Kenya. There are very few. In fact, I think there are only 10 or something. So how does it feel to be among, I think, the only 10? Is it 10, if I'm wrong?
They are combined together with the government and laboratories and the private ones. We are around 19 of us in the country.
19 now, but I think the private is around 10.
It's around 10.
Yes. So assuming it's only 19 of your kind in the entire country. How is it? And furthermore, you are a woman, for that matter.
Yeah.
And I think I only saw 2 women, and that is you and I think another lady. I don't want to mention the name.
Yeah.
But how is it that only 19 of you and only 2 women in this sector in the entire country? How is it navigating the terrains?
Number one, it feels, and it actually feels like you're a star shining, because number one, you have to also break in a lot of barriers to get where we are. But the truth of the matter is, when we come to the field, we put gender aside. We are competing as complete laboratories, though managed by women.
You say that when you step out to the field, it's no longer about gender, it's about the competent nature of the person you are representing in the field. Now, I want you to speak into that so that whoever is watching us, they can understand that when it comes to such sectors, it's not about whether you're a woman or you're a man, it's about the deliverables, the outputs that you bring on the table. Maybe you can speak into it.
If I can shed some light on that, when you step out in any sector, the first emphasis must not be that you are doing it because you are gender A or gender B. You should be able to come out as a complete person, number one, and come out as a complete section representing who you are. And that is what we do. When we get to the field, our quality, our competence, our capability does not represent the gender we are. Because you must be able to go beyond that so that you're able to achieve your goals and achieve what you intend. So when we get out here as Nexton, you will not even remember. We will climb the stack. We will do what is supposed to be done because we have to get the analysis from a certain height. And you must achieve that. So you verse yourself well, you make sure that you have enough information, you make sure that you have safety PPEs in place, and you must wear them properly. You make sure that you're doing quality work. You make sure that everything that you're supposed to do is actually being done, both to make sure that you are compliant yourself as the lab, and as you help your client to also become compliant with the statutory regulations. When we are representing Nexton, we are representing the statutory requirements. These are annual or quarterly requirements by the government in every factory or manufacturing industry, or even workplace. Let's just term them as workplaces. Anywhere a worker is, because even if you're not emitting through the source emitting equipment like boilers and generators, there are other requirements you're supposed to put in place so that your worker at your workplace is safe. All right? That is now on the line of occupational safety and health. One of the things I would want to mention right now, Mr. Collins, is that there's a very broad difference between occupational safety and health and things to do with environment. One of the major difference is that anything touching occupational safety and health touches on a worker, on an individual person, on somebody who came to work and needs to be protected. But when you talk about environmental issues, you're talking about what affects your surrounding, be it pollution. And pollution can be either through the air, or through the water. Anything touching around the surrounding is what we are referring as environmental.
All right.
And that's where now Nexton combines both the ability, because we are in capacity to do the environmental consultancy and the occupational safety and health consultancy. We are combining the both force and ensuring that our clients get the best when it comes to compliance journey. We help the clients walk the journey with ease and ensure that they comply on time, and we advise them on actually what they need to comply on as per the regulations of the government.
That's well explained. And in our next, the next segment, because we are going to on a short break right now, but in our next segment, ladies and gentlemen, we just want to have a feel of some of the things and some of the equipments that Nexton and those in this sector do use to actually monitor and do all this environmental stuff we've been talking about.